Welcome back to the cooking show. In today's video we're going to make some curry chicken. I'm going to make one version of the curry chicken with milk and one version without. I'll be making them simultaneously, so just pay attention to the one that you're most interested in making. Before we get started on this recipe, you will need to cook some chicken. I cooked chicken for both portions, going to split it evenly. I cooked 4 pounds of chicken breasts. You can choose whatever kind of chicken you'd like, so long as it's boned and cooked. Knowing this, for the recipe without milk, you will need 1 cup of water, 1 cup of coconut. This can either be pre-packaged, pre-grated coconut or freshly grated coconut. Salt to taste. 1.5 tablespoons of curry powder and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. You'll also need a cup of chicken broth. On the milk version of the chicken curry, what you'll need is 1 cup of grated coconut, either fresh or prepackaged, 2 cups of water, 2 cups of milk, 5 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 cups of chicken broth, 2 tablespoons of curry powder, salt to taste, and 2 pounds of chicken. So first off, we're going to make some coconut milk. And to do that, we will head over to the stove. You'll need a pan and a spatula for this next portion. For the version without milk, go ahead and put that cup of water into the pan and let it simmer until it starts to evaporate. For the version with milk, take your 2 cups of water and your 2 cups of milk, mix them together in your pan and cook until there is a rim of bubbles around the edge of the pan. While it's cooking, we can put our chicken, our lemon, and our chicken broth away. We won't need them for a little while. Both of these can be wrapped and refrigerated. Now that the water without the milk is simmering, we can turn it off, remove it from the heat, and we'll add in our cup of coconut. Give that a stir. Let the coconut soak in the water for about an hour. Now that there's this ring of bubbles around the outside, we can add our coconut to our milk. Go ahead and take this off the heat, turn it off, remove from the heat, and then we'll add our coconut in, give it a good stir. Now we'll let this sit for about an hour. As the coconut steeps, you can leave them like this or you can cover them. This is a great time to prep the rice. And today I'll be preparing 2 cups of white rice and 1 cup of brown rice. If this is your first time cooking rice, I typically cook white rice on a 2-to-1 ratio. That's 2 cups of water for every 1 cup of rice. And I usually cook brown rice on a 1 to 1.5 cup ratio. That is 1 cup of brown rice to 1.5 cups of water. If you are cooking rice on the stove, be sure to keep an eye on it so that it doesn't burn. If you do have a rice cooker, it will enable you to just let it sit and do its thing. Either way, the rice should be done about the time the coconut finishes steeping. Now that the coconut has steeped for an hour, we can finally strain it through a strainer. At this point, you'll want a fine strainer. If you don't have one, you can also use a cheesecloth, or you can just go slowly and use a spoon to keep the coconut out of the coconut milk. At this point, our rice should also be done, so we can set that aside for the time being. And we can also take out our chicken, our lemon juice, and our chicken broth from the fridge. Let's start by straining the coconut in just the water. Once the coconut is strained, take a cookie sheet with a piece of parchment paper, and you'll place the coconut. You can spread it out on the paper. Then you'll put the coconut in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit until it's slightly toasted. Next, we'll strain the coconut milk with the milk. And once again, we can take the coconut, place it on our cookie sheet, and spread it out. For this next portion, we can leave the coconut milk aside, and we'll head back over to the stove with the pans. For the curry without milk, you will need a cup of chicken broth. And for your curry with milk, you'll need your 5 tablespoons of butter and your 2 cups of chicken broth. So we'll start with the chicken broth without milk first. Turn the stove back on. Next we'll move on to our curry with milk. We'll add our 2 cups of chicken broth. And our 5 tablespoons of butter. And we'll turn our stove on. For the curry without milk, once it's steaming, it's ready for the next step. For the curry with milk, once the butter's melted and the whole mixture is hot, you're ready for the next step. Once the chicken broth is ready, it's time to add the curry powder and the salt. Remember, we'll be adding 1.5 tablespoons of curry to the curry without milk and 2 tablespoons of curry to the curry with milk. Next, I like to add a little bit of salt. You can add more later if you like, but just a little bit to start off. Once the curry powder and salt is mixed into the chicken broth, it's time to add the coconut milk. The last step before the chicken is to add the lemon juice. We'll add 1 tablespoon to the curry without milk and 2 tablespoons to the curry with milk. Once all that's mixed together, we can turn the heat back up from simmer to about middle of the road heat, and we'll finally add our chicken. Now I'll add 2 pounds of it to the broth without the milk and 2 pounds of it to the broth with the milk. Once the chicken's all mixed in, we'll let the sauce reduce a little bit and then it's ready to serve. And here we have our finished curry chicken. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. Totally. want to try the chicken?